Hey guys, it's Tim, and I'm super close because we're in my little tight reloading spot and I don't have a whole lot of room to move the camera. So I'm going to do my best to film this, but what we're going to talk about is the things you need to do to get started reloading. Because right now there's this big shortage on ammo and everybody's freaking out, and now they're buying all the reloading stuff up, and just because you went and bought it doesn't mean you know what you're doing, right? So let's hit the basics and we'll move from there. Okay, so first thing you're going to need is a press, right? This is how you're going to actually do your reloading. And then you're going to need some form of brass, right? Whether you buy new brass, it still needs to get formed though. I mean, it's been formed, but it gets banged around in there. So it's best to just do it, reform it. But if you've been to the range or whatever and you've picked up brass or you've shot brass and saved it, it's going to look like this. It's all dingy, dirty, nasty, right? So the first thing you're going to want to do is some form of cleaning apparatus. So here is my tumbler. It's a vibratory tumbler. It vibrates and there's walnut holes in there. And that'll give you a nice shiny case. So there's a nice shiny case from 300 Blackout that's been through. You can see the shine off of it, right? So after you get to that point, you're going to need one of these. Now I bought a few of these. This one's analog, and down in here I have a digital one. But see, the problem is that digital one, every time I want to go use it, it will never turn on. It's always dead. So to me, that one's junk. This one is just as good as any of them. This one's from Cabela's. It's showing that it's, you know, super nice tolerance there. So okay, then you're gonna decide what you're gonna reload for. So today I'm gonna reload for 357. I might have some 38s in here, but now that's gonna require something different. Okay, but here's a die set. 38 special can load 357 Magnum. Now in here we have carbide factory crimp die. That's not that important. This one right here, sizing die. Okay, we'll get it in here a little better. There you go. So we got the sizing die. That one's gonna have a little primer spot here. It's gonna decap your primer. And this is your primer back here, right? So you're gonna pop your primer out. It's gonna size the case. Then you have powder through expanding die. So on handgun cartridges is the only time you'll deal with an expanding die. That'll actually flare out just a little bit of the case mouth, so when the bullet seats, because these are straight walled, right? So when the bullet seats, it doesn't eat away on the lead or whatever. And then you have the bullet seat and feed, and then the crimp. So the crimp is what holds the bullet in. Now some bullets like these right here, this is what I'll be using today. These are 158 grain wad cutters, and they have a groove right there in that bullet, and that's where you would put the crimp. Not all bullets have it. So like when you get to some rifle bullets like this right here, this ballistic tip for 22 caliber, there's no crimp groove, so that dictates where it gets set. Okay. Now once you get your brass cleaned, deprimed, sized, now's the time to go ahead and every manufacturer, or every cartridge will have a overall length that is required. Now this overall length, you can get a simple gauge like this one right here, and we can just slide it in. See, it fits right there, right? 357 mag, that's what we're looking for. Now if it hits right here and it stops, then we're gonna have to trim it. That case will not fit in the gun. It is not a safe case. So there's multiple ways to trim it. So in one of my previous videos, I used the Lee trim method, which is, I'd have to dig it out right now. Or you can get yourself something fancier like one of these, where you set this distance up to what you want. But you need to make sure that your cases are all the correct length. Now, if I could remember what I just did with my books. Okay, found my books. I set them down, they fell. So it's important that if I'm going to be reloading for the 357, that I use 357 data. Okay, this is all published data. These books are super cheap, And as you can see, they're about equally as thick. One is all 38 special because it cannot be loaded to the same tolerance as a 357 Magnum, right? So you don't want to just get one and go, oh, well, I'm just going to do this. So let's just take a quick look in here. And right here in multiple pages, you can find most of the same information as all on the internet, right? So right here, it's telling me that my overall length for my cartridge for a 357 Magnum is 1.290 inches. Okay, same as what this was saying, 1.290 inches. Okay, so we want to make sure our cases are that long. Now all this load data here is done with a primer, a CCI 550 primer. That can make a difference, okay? So you never want to go and start out with, let's say you went out and you want the highest velocity possible because you want to shoot your bullet the fastest, which is not always the best. Every gun's different. So you look this up and you see that you can get some 296 powder, that's a Winchester powder, and it's going to shoot at 500 or 1550 feet a second with 22.4 grains of powder. Okay, so you're like, all right, that's what I'm going to do. Don't start up there. Start down here. Work your way up, because there's things that'll show whether the primers that you're using, the gun, the barrel length. This will usually tell you what barrel length. See, 6 inches. So this was used, these tests out of this one for these Sierra bullets, we're using a Colt MK3 Trooper with a barrel length of 6 with a twist rate of 1 in 14. The brass was Starline brass. It was trimmed to 1.285, so it's under, so that's fine. It's not over. It gives you a little history, and then it gives you, these are 110 grain bullets, and this is the specific bullet, right? So you can keep going in here and finding different ones. So see that you get a heavier bullet, 140 grain, 296. The maximum charge is 19.5 grains. Okay, so we're getting there. So now we can come over here. Let's say we come over here, Lyman bullets. So Lyman will give their same thing right here. This is everything they use. Here's their cases, Federal cases, trim to length, 1.285 primers, still CCI 550s, primer size, small pistol Magnum. Tells you what shell holder. That'll come usually in your kit, or if it's not, it'll tell you what one you need to buy, and it'll give you down here firearm used, universal receiver, special vented barrel, 4-inch twist, 1 in 18 3/4. So see, this twist is a little different. It gives groove data. So there's all kinds of little nuances to all this. So it's important to make sure you know everything you're doing before you just go load a bullet, slap it in your gun, right? So why don't we just take a look at some of these things here. Open up our thing. So here's our sizer decapper, right? So this is gonna go in our press like so, except I need to put my adapter in there. And then the bullet, see, I can't fit that bullet in there. It's because it's too big right now. And then that little projection there will pop out our primer, okay? So today, let's see here, just for quick reference. Here, I got some Federal small Magnum pistol primers. These are match primers, but that's all they had at the store, right? So I'm going to be loading 357. I got some 158 grain lead wad cutters, so I'm probably going to have to go back to that Lyman bullets, because they are all what you call it, lead bullets. Let's see, still not the same shape. You want to look for the same shape. 155, 168. Right here we go. RCBS. So here's our shape. It's a semi-wad cutter, SWC, semi-wad cutter. There's ways to look up what all these round nose RN. So there's ways to look up these things. So this is what our bullet pretty much looks like. So we know that, and we plan on using H110. Let me grab that down here. So I have some Hodgdon H110 right here. So it's saying their starting load is 16.5 grains. their ending load is 17.5 grains. The star denotes use of CCI 550 Magnum primer, okay? So if it doesn't have that star, maybe it says something different in the front. CCI 500, so that's small pistol. Okay, so these were the Magnum primers with this powder, 16.5, traveling at 1243 feet a second, and that is at, let's see here, what is this showing? It's out of a Ruger single 6 barrel length 6-inch 1 and 18 twist, right? So that will be just fine. So we'll do 16.5 grains, and we'll check. We could do a couple loads, and then go check them, and make sure that the neck isn't splitting, right? We don't want the neck to be splitting. We don't want the primer to be popped out. That means that there's overpressures, there's problems. We don't want any of that, right? Okay. So now that we kind of know what we're going to be looking at, we got to make sure that we got primers, powder, projectile. Alright, so I hope that helped somebody out. Just get your juices flowing through your brain, making sure you're thinking about what you're doing, because you're going to be putting this stuff in your hand, or you're going to be having it by your face or whatever, and we don't want to have overpressures and failures of firearms, right? So if this helped you out or gave you any little bit of knowledge, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, leave a comment, whatever. Just do something. It helps me out. And I'm going to go load some 357, so there'll be another video. So if you want to see the more detailed process, check it out. We'll catch you next time.